Yo, what is going on, you greedy galvantula? First thing, you might notice there's not as much stuff behind me as there usually is. That's because I'm moving, and most of my stuff is packed up. Yeah, moving this weekend, so content might be a little bit slow. Anyways, let's get into today's deck. So if you're a big fan of stuff like Decidueye or Obstagoon, then I'm sure you've played around with Altaria, or at least played against Altaria. And Altaria is kind of similar to those two because it kind of limits our opponent from what they can actually attack with. Altaria's ability says it can't be hit by GX or V Pokemon, can't be damaged, does not prevent the effects of attacks, and yeah, that's what Altaria does. But it has low HP of 110 and doesn't do very much damage with only 60 damage with the speed dive. And quite a few decks have answers to Altaria. So the way this deck works, and this deck actually got top 16, I believe, in the last Limitless Weekly. So shout out to Zach C for the list. So the way this deck works is there's stuff like Baby Volk or Tapu Koko, things like that can one-hit KO Altaria, and Altaria can't really trade back and forth with them, right? It only does 60 damage, you only have 110 HP, you're not going to be able to live through multiple hits most of the time, and you're not even going to be able to 2-hit KO a lot of your targets that you need to. Definitely can't one-hit KO anything, and sometimes can't even 2-hit KO what you need 2-hit KO, but we have some other Pokemon in here that kind of do that for us. So we're a one-prize deck, so our opponent has to draw 6 prize cards, right? So that makes it hard for them to do sometimes. We have the Hitmonchan and the Basculin in here. So the Basculin for 1 energy, from colorless energy, just 20 damage. Which you're like, well, that's not enough to want to KO Baby Volk. But we add Martial Arts Dojo, which says if you have a basic fighting on the Pokemon that you're attacking with and you're behind in prize cards, you do plus 40 damage. So now Basculin is hitting for 60 damage with a basic fighting that we do play 5 of. So you go Basculin, basic fighting, Martial Arts Dojo, one-hit KO the Baby Volk after it probably one-hit KO'd one of our Altarias, and then we go back into Altaria, and if they set up another Baby Volk, we repeat. Then we have Hitmonchan in here, which we can utilize against Tapu Koko. Same thing. Have an Altaria set up, they go, okay, my only answer to this, I'm PikaRom, Tapu Koko hits your Altaria. They're like, all right, Hitmonchan, knock out your Tapu Koko, go back into Altaria, and that's it, you lose the game. So kind of this deck is all about just like answering the answers that our opponent has for Altaria, and then going back into Altaria and be like, okay, you're out of answers, I win the game with Altaria, and that's it. That's the whole deck. I thought the deck was super cool, interesting. I love when decks like do interesting things to solve their problems, come up with interesting answers for their problems. So I really want to share this one with you guys here. Nothing else super interesting in the list. It's a 4 Rosa list, and then you obviously have the other stuff like the Marnies, the researches, stuff like that. A couple Big Charms, so we can make our Altaria a little bit tankier, specifically very good against like the Baby Volks, so they can't one-hit KO our Altaria. That's very nice because they hit for that 110. I think that's all I wanted to mention. I don't think there's anything else to really mention. Snorlax in here for the draw engine, basically, and there's a Munchlax in here to recover stuff if we need it. That's it. I don't think there's really anything else to mention. So let's go ahead and let's get into some games. All right, here we go. Our opponent wins the coin flip. They choose to go first. I don't think it really matters too much if we go first or second. Open the Marshadow. We don't know if we want the Hitmonchan or not. We don't want to research away an Altaria. There is 2 Ordinary Rod in here, so it's not that big of a deal. I'm not going to bench the Hitmonchan, though, because if we're not up against PikaRom, I don't really want Hitmonchan, I don't think. I can't think of a reason why we'd want Hitmonchan if we're not up against PikaRom. There's a Mewtwo, there's an Absol, and a Mewtwo. It looks like it is PikaRom. In that case, kind of do want Hitmonchan, and we actually might just wait a turn here. I don't actually have to play the research. We could just wait to evolve to an Altaria. Once again, the way this deck works is we just kind of like be like, all right, you got to use your things that you have to get through Altaria. Okay, they start using them, and they're like, okay, go into Hitmonchan, go into Basculin, and there's the immediate concede. This also happens a lot, not just with this deck, but decks like Obstagoon, like Decidueye. You start attacking, and they're like, I don't have an answer. And apparently my opponent just doesn't have an answer to Altaria, so they conceded. Okay, here we go again. We did win the coin flip. I kind of like the idea. We don't play a ton of draw supporters in this deck, so there's not a whole ton of value to be gained out of, as I say that, we draw into a hand with 2 draw supporters. There's not a whole ton of value to be gained out of going second, I feel like. Because it's like 2 Marnie, 2 research, and a Caitlin and Cynthia. Besides that, you got the 4 Rosa, of course. Unless I like miscounted there, but I'm pretty sure I'm correct on those counts. Attach to Swablu. Pass it over to my opponent. I don't really feel it necessary to pick up this Mewtwo yet. Maybe next turn. We'll see. And we'll see what our opponent's playing here. They open the Zacian V. which makes me think they are playing LucMetal or ADP. And it looks like the answer is LucMetal. So we'll see if they have an answer to Altaria, or if they can KO our Swablus before we actually get to use and get out Altaria. We'll see. But I have a good feeling. I have a good... oh, there's a Rusted Sword. Wonder why they play that. Huh. 260 doesn't really do a whole ton for Zacian V. However, Rusted Sword with ADP getting that 290. Now that's kind of a bigger deal. All right, there's a Capture Energy grab. So I'm pretty sure if they play something to answer Swablu, which will become Altaria, they would grab it here. They don't. So I think we win. We'll find out for sure here as the game continues, but we're in a pretty good spot, I would assume. I'm going to go ahead and make the guess that our opponent does not play an answer, and we will win this game either on deck out if my opponent's going to be stubborn, or they will concede very shortly. I'm going to go ahead and net this Mewtwo because I don't really need that in play. Send up the Doll, Dojo, and then Marnie. Draw myself a new hand. Hopefully find ourselves an Altaria. If not, it's not the worst thing ever. Got to Capture Energy, so I can go ahead and grab myself a Snorlax here, because my hand isn't great. So seeing some new cards would be great. So let's get the Snorlax out. Let's get some more dolls in play, because it never hurts to have a doll or two in play. And doll to the bottom. I'm not going to bench either of these because they kind of don't do anything for us. And then we're just going to go ahead and gourmandize for 5 cards. And there we go. There is the Altaria we've been looking for. So we're going to evolve that. And then we're going to start attacking. And then continuously attack until we win the game. And in this situation, our opponent can GX attack. That'll make us do minus 30 damage. And then they have Metal Goggles, which makes us do minus 60. But we play 4 Martial Arts Dojo and plenty of energy. So what's going to happen here is we're going to do 10 damage. We're going to do 10 damage. And then we're going to continuously do 10 damage every single turn until we take knockouts. And our opponent does play Mallow Lana, so it'll be a very long, grindy game if our opponent wants to sit through it all. If they do, that's fine with me. I'm down for the ride. Once you play a deck like this, you know what you're getting into. Or I know what I'm getting into playing a deck like this. Sometimes our opponent's going to be a little bit stubborn and be like, I'm not going to concede yet. I'm going to make you do 10 damage a million times. And we'll always deck out second because we do play Lillie's Poké Doll. Because we do play the Lillie Poké Dolls, we're just not going to deck out first ever. And we're going to be forcing our opponent to play cards because we will actually be doing damage. No matter how little it is, any damage is some damage. So we will be forcing our opponent to actually play the game. And I'm actually going to send up this one first because if they do GX attack, I want to be able to move it. So I can put the U-Turn Board here. I don't want to play the Research though because then I lose the Dojo, I guess. So maybe I will Marnie. In fact, they're not even attacking. So I guess we're just going to chill. And now I'm going to put it on the active maybe, I guess. Now I guess we will just Marnie though. So I could like U-Turn Board the active, play the Marnie. Find ourselves Altarias. Okay, Altaria. And then we have Calm to grab another Altaria. And then we can gourmandize for quite a bit here actually. So Altaria. And once again, I'm assuming my opponent doesn't play an answer to Altaria because when they use Capture Energy, they didn't find anything. Now, it could be prized, which means we do want to find that Scoop Up Net and get Snorlax out of play as soon as possible. But I think if it was prized, they would have attacked last turn. Because they know I play Scoop Up Net. Maybe they didn't read into it that hard, but they do know I play Scoop Up Net. So that should tell them that they should prepare for me potentially Scoop Up Netting the Snorlax out of play and them kind of losing access to their prize cards. But there we go. Brave Blade. We're going to go ahead and get a swing with the Speed Dive here. And now they choose to KO the Snorlax. Once again, like I said, we will not deck out first. And actually, in this situation, my opponent has less cards in their deck. So, and on top of all that, we actually do 10 damage. No matter what our opponent does, they're not going to, I guarantee they do not play more stadiums than we do. They play this Power Plant, so I'm assuming they probably play like 2 Power Plant. They do not play more stadiums than we do. So we will win the Stadium War, and then we will have a basic fighting on one of our Altarias, and we will do 10 damage every single turn. And we have 4 Lillie's Poké Dolls to work with as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw this here and just pass. And we're in the draw pass phase now. We're going to draw pass with our opponent until we get another energy and attack with this Altaria. And then we will do 10 damage. And we will continuously do 10 damage until we win the game through deck out, my opponent conceding, or actually drawing the prize cards. It is also possible that we draw the prize cards. I'm actually going to put all my dolls back into my deck here so my opponent can't actually KO them. Because that would mean that I have that many less cards to put back in my deck later on. If they KO like all 3, at least theoretically, they KO all 3 of my Lillie's Poké Dolls, well then I can't put them back into my deck and make my deck bigger So it's possible I can maybe lose the deck out in that scenario because they play Lillie's Pokédolls as well. I don't think it's gonna happen. Actually, yeah, and there's the concede. All right, they see what's going on finally, and we get the dub. Another dub. Okay, here we go again. I'm gonna go first, like I did in that last one, the one before. Once again, we don't play a ton of draw supporters, so it doesn't make a whole ton of sense for us to go second because it's hard for us to get like a ton of value out of our turn. We stamp electromagnetic radar, so it looks like we're up against PikaRom. So set up Altarias, maybe put Mew in play to protect from Tag Bolt, and then Hitmonchan KOs the oh so annoying and our opponent's only answer, which is what's it called? So I'm gonna get rid of this. I'm gonna put the Swablu in play, so I have a turn to Altaria. Keep everything else. Yeah. Coco. Just need to KO the Coco basically, and we win the game, and then get back into an Altaria. We do have to KO Coco, get back into an Altaria. I guess if we don't get back into an Altaria, we could lose because they could theoretically draw their prize cards, but shouldn't be too big of a deal to go Altaria, KO their not PikaRom, KO their what's it called? Because I can't remember off the top of my head. What is it called? Coco Prism. There we go. KO the Coco Prism. And then go from there. We got a Dojo here, so we'll probably bump this. We do play Marshadow in here, but we don't have to use Marshadow if we just have a Dojo right now, which I think we'll just go for, just Dojo and play, because Rosa can always get us Energy, Dojo, and Hitmonchan. Once again, though, we do have to get back into an Altaria. So setting up a second Altaria as soon as possible is definitely optimal. Our current hand does not allow for that, but there's a Marnie from our opponent, which is great. Our hand wasn't terrible. We could definitely work with it, but I think I'm happy for the Marnie here. More likely to see a little bit better. This is not quite what I was hoping for. It's not great. So it's not the worst thing ever, but it actually isn't great. We can get a Snorlax, but we have no way to get the Snorlax into the active here. Top deck a Scoop Up Net, which is possible. If we don't, well, if we don't, we can get rid of the Basculin here. So we should just go for the Snorlax and put it in play and be like, all right, here we go. KO my active, please. I could have not grabbed it yet, I guess, and then like send up a doll and put it under and then gone to Snorlax next turn. So I didn't have to calm there. I could have just gone bench Swablu pass, to be honest. I didn't have to put the Snorlax in play right here. I should have gone bench Swablu pass, because now my opponent can go like attach to their active or switch attached to Mewtwo, boss full blitz KO my Snorlax, and because I've kind of like made it very clear to my opponent that my hand is dead and my only out for draw power is the Snorlax, and I didn't have to be that obvious with it. I could have waited, like, okay, I'm just gonna, oh, you took a knockout, okay, I'm gonna send up my Pokédoll. Oh, okay, now I'm gonna come for Snorlax, and here we go. So this was probably unnecessary. Also, if my opponent was to Marnie me again, I might just not need Snorlax anymore. So definitely a misstep on my part, not gonna lie. Could have done this a little bit better. They just used Dance of the Ancients though. I wonder if they've realized their mistake, or because they took a little while to use the Dance of the Ancients, or maybe they have another answer, but I can't think of what else would be an answer in this scenario. So I think we have almost, we're not there yet, but basically pretty much almost gotten a dub already. We'll see what they do with their full blitz. Theoretically, like if I was in their position, I'd put it all in my Mewtwo and be like, oh, I'm gonna tag ball double Swablu next turn. And it looks like that's what they want to do, but we do have this Mew to help ourselves out there. I'm just gonna send up the Lax. I don't want to lose Pokédolls in play if I don't have to, so we're just gonna go Lax, attach Mew, Lax for 7 with the Gourmandize. You to protect our bench. So research, no Altarias yet. So we need to find those. We still need to find Altarias, but as long as we get an Altaria out, I think we will just win, because our opponent does not have, or does not seem to have, an answer anymore to Altaria. So we'll see what our research can do, how many Altarias it could potentially find. If we just get one, I think we'll win the game. So 1 is all we need. Tandem Shock KO on my Mew. We're just gonna send up the Snorlax once again. Quick Ball probably for another. Go ahead, throw out Dojo, doesn't matter. Big Charm here, I guess. Doesn't seem to. I could have sent up some dolls to conserve some dolls, I guess. I just kind of want a third Swablu in play for sure. And I don't really need dolls. We're theoretically assuming we just win the game if we get an Altaria. So let's just get an Altaria. And there is an Altaria. And that should be game. Like I said, I guess I don't know for sure. My opponent could have something else up their sleeve, but I think we got him. That's it. Yeah, all I knew for sure is I wanted Swablus in play. And if I put the dolls back into the deck, if I whiff this turn and then like the decks get shuffled, I have to use Marnie or even a research, I could draw back into these dolls and then I could whiff Altarias because of that. And we're assuming if we just get an Altaria, we win this game. Altaria is out. Our opponent's about to tag bolt Swablu and Swablu. Then we're going to scoop up net my Snorlax and attack for 100 damage. Or we could even just pass and then win by deck out at this point because my opponent has way less cards in their deck than me. And I have dolls to put back on the bottom of my deck. I don't have to get greedy here, though. Do this. I'm going to grab scoop up net, energy, and maybe a Marnie. Do I have a Marnie? I do not. Already got the scoop up net. So energy, scoop up net, and is Swablu, I guess. Net, lax. Attach, capture, fail. Dojo, and I'll speed dive this one for 100. We don't actually have to attack, though. We can just sit here and be like, draw pass, because if my opponent does play an out to Altaria, they do also have to put it in play, and in this scenario, they don't have any bench space. So that means if I just draw pass, I won't KO anything. My opponent can't put anything in play, and if they do have an answer that they haven't shown us yet, we win because they can't hit my Altaria. So at this point, I think I will draw a pass because it is a little bit safer. How many Marnie are they down? That's 1, 2 down now. 2 Marnies down. Probably play 4. But yeah, I have 23 cards left in deck. They have 16. Here comes a Crushing Hammer. Once again, irrelevant because I plan to draw pass for the rest of the game. There's a Stealthy Hood. I actually don't know what the Stealthy Hood is in here for. I kind of wish I did. I have no idea why this is in the deck. Maybe for goons. Just switch back. Tandem Shock. Okay, I can't attack. But once again, I don't plan on attacking, so it doesn't really matter. It's going to pass back. And we're just going to draw pass for the rest of the game and take the dub. Yeah, my opponent was a little bit greedy with their Coco, and there's the concede, and we get another dub. And that's going to do it for these games with the Altaria deck. Yeah, the latter seemed to be fairly unprepared this morning for it. My opponent in this last one did not quite understand the matchup. Maybe they learned from that and will now in the future keep their Coco around. But who knows? Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the games, I'll see you tomorrow.